We Predacons forbid you to watch this video if you are under the age of 13. That means you must click the box and exit the video. Yes. But if you continue to watch, it shall avail you not. No. For now the power gauntlet has been cast. Predacons, terrorize!
Hello everyone, welcome back to Input, and in this review we're going to be taking a look at me, Generation Select CCON member Gulf.
So hey guys, as you can see, we've got Generation Select CCON member Gulf. He did one hell of an introduction on his own, but I figured I might have to reiterate it just a little bit. Now, right off the bat, I have to say that this guy resembles his G1 toy to a T. The only difference between the toy and the G1 toy and the new Generation Select toy is the fact that his visor is red instead of yellow or gold. Now, the red matches the box art extremely well. The G1 box art had a red visor while the toy had a all yellow visor. But the coloring on this guy is so accurate to the toy. Just the visor is the different color. But I don't mind that because it's still part of Transformers lore and history in the sense that his visor on the box art was red. So they had different colors that they could play with, and I'm really glad that they went with red instead of the yellow to help break up the face, to give it some contrast in there. That was one thing that, truthfully, I wouldn't say that I didn't like about the G1 toys as a whole, but it was always hard to kind of see where their eyes stopped and the rest of their face started. So, as you can see right here, the paint on this guy is lots and lots of paint on this guy. I'm going to try to get into focus on his head here, and you can see the paint right there just looks really phenomenal. The visor is painted. Everything is cast in the blue plastic, so it's painted red and painted gold. There's yellow paint here and here. There's pink paint. So everything that you see that is covered with blue plastic and it's pink is actually painted pink. So this is painted pink. These is paint right here. Paint all over this giant anglerfish head, which I will talk about here in a second, and then what becomes his fin in his alt mode, beast mode, is also painted pink. The legs here are painted pink, and the crazy thing is that this is not painted pink. There is no color difference between the plastic and the paint. Takara nailed that plastic and paint color match. It is obscene how well they matched that. So I have to say bravo to Takara on that one. As you see right here, this is painted a dark pink as well, and the hand and the plastic and the paint match incredibly well. Now this guy is a retool of the Generations Power of the Primes Blot mold, which I'll get into a comparison later on. But I just want to show how, in bot mode, how rich this guy's coloring is. This is so well done color-wise. It's mind-blowing. Now, this is a set that I didn't think that we would get at all because Power of the Primes had ended and everything, and I didn't think that the CCONs would end up getting any kind of actual release, but they did, and so far, they are knocking these out of the park. Takara just is hitting it right every time, and like I said, just knocking it completely out of the park. So, which I'll get to in alt mode, but the teeth back here are also painted, and so he can have two different looks. He can have this is what I like to do right here is fold it down because it covers up the gap. But if you want to have the gap, you could totally spin his beast mode or alt mode mouth around and close up the mouth on his back. But I like to have the mouth open because it kind of covers up that gap back there. And I think it looks a little bit more intimidating. Now, there's some holdover from the Blot mold, how Blot connected with these 3mm pegs back here and everything, which I'll get to right after we take a look at his weaponry. Now, this guy is loaded with weapons. I don't really even know where to begin. So, he's got a fishtail that transforms into a gun, which, awesome. I think that's really, really wicked, and it can sit in his hand pretty well. But it does highlight one issue that the figure has. So his wrist, as you can see, don't lock up into place, but there are notches that lock it here and then lock it back there and then finish off for the transformation. But there's sorely lacking that one last notch to lock them fully upright, which I think is a shame. Right here, as you can see, this gun is a little too heavy for his wrist because it just kind of bows it down. But that's one very small blemish on an otherwise phenomenally well done figure. He does have, so you can put it here in his hand if you wanted to, and if you do the mouth like this, he does have a 5mm port on his back, so the gun can sit over his head, something like this. And sure, it looks kind of like a water cannon, and I'm totally down for that look. I mean, hey, it's something that you can do, and I dig it. So he's got that. He also has his side weapons here, which don't really weigh the figure's wrist down at all, and I think that looks really good. And you can just get them both in there like so, like that, and I think that looks really wicked. And if you wanted to, he does have weapon storage for these guys right back here on the side, right there. Or you can just put them on the other side if you don't want to have it interfere with anything. So, weapon storage there, which I think is awesome. And weapon storage, you guys know I'm always a huge fan of weapon storage. And last but not least, the last little bit of weaponry that he has is his sword. Now, this is probably the most awkward weapon that he has. Now, this is used to combine with the sword that comes with Snaptrap to form the giant Piranha sword or Sea King sword. And the way it sits, it doesn't really make a blade, because I would think this would be on the outside, but the blade is right here on the inside. It's part of the transformation to get the giant big sword for combined mode, and I understand. I completely understand why it's like that, but it does look a little off kilter with him kind of wielding it facing outward. I think they probably should have painted the inside of this right here to give it a little bit of a blade motif, but the coloring, but that's just a nitpick, and it is what it is, because the mirrored version of this sword that comes with the other figure will sit perfectly well in his hand. It won't be awkward. So it's a mirrored item, so it is what it is. Now, the paint that they used is the same paint that they used here for the original sword, and this is, like I was saying, this is how it'll combine, so that's why it sits the way it sits in his hand. But it's a color match. It's perfect. It's that same aqua pink color that's found on Snaptrap sword. So same thing, same color, just different color plastic that's used as the base. You can also, I guess, you can have them hold it like a gun, which I guess is a thing. Which I don't know. It looks kind of weird because it's supposed to be a sword, but I guess it can be like I don't know, some kind of crossbow, something or other, or whatever. I don't know. It's something it's a thing that you can do. Now, you can combine the weapons like this and get the guns together at least and kind of get this weird type of smokestack weapon. So, yeah, that's something you can do, and then I guess you can just He doesn't really have a weapon storage for his sword. I guess right here, but that's kind of loose. I guess if you wanted to, you could put it here on his side, and he can wield this thing. But again, that kind of highlights the wrist problem that this figure has. So let's jump into the comparison with Blot and Blot's bot mode, shall we? Now, something I wanted to point out before we tackle the bot modes themselves is here's Blot's gun right here, and this is the only weapon that Blot came with. And as you can see, these are not a recolor of these guns. These are 100% new molds for Gulf here. So yeah, there's that. I just wanted to touch on that they are new weapons. It's not a recolor of the same thing. So Blot, he shares a lot of similarities with Blot, and it's pretty crazy what they did here with both of them. So the legs are different. It looks like the feet are different. No, the feet look like the feet look to be the same, but this piece right here, there's some retooling here in the knees, and that's really the only difference. But it's just the paint that really separates the two as far as look goes. The thighs and the waist and stuff are the same. So the lower legs, the thighs, and the waist right here are the same, just recolored, colored differently. The feet for the alt mode are the same, again, just painted different, and the plastic is different and makes it just really stand out, make it look completely different on their own. The wrist and forearm section here are different. The upper arm area right here is the same, again, just painted different and different plastic. The connector port, combiner port peg right here is different. The side pieces right here are the same, but again, different paint, different color plastic, really, really helps make that stand out. The biggest remold would be back here for their alt modes. Blot is this, I have no idea, monster creature, something or other thing, while he's supposed to be my understanding is a female anglerfish, because the males are really small. So, but this is the biggest retool, and this is what I was saying earlier, these 3mm pegs that were left over from Blot. This is, the 3mm pegs are what lock Blot's alt mode head in place here on the back, while these pegs right here don't really do anything to lock that in place for him. But these pieces, this piece right here, these little slots peg in right here, and that's what locks that whole section in place for Gulf here. And last but not least, I think the biggest issue would be, or not really issue, but the biggest worry whenever we get retools or repaints are the heads the same? And no, they are not. They are a completely new head, or Gulf has a completely new head than Blot here, and I absolutely think that's wonderful. So that is right there, the comparison between the two. And yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to his alt mode, shall we? The Anglerfish. Real quick, guys, before we jump into his alt mode look, there is something that I forgot to address in his bot mode. So he does have a 3mm peg flight stand port right there that you can plug a flight stand into and get some pretty cool jumping effects and stuff. So there is that. And one other thing that I did forget to talk about in my Turtler review is that Turtler right here also does have a 3mm flight stand, although it's upper towards the back area. So he does have that flight stand as well. And he also, if you guys can find one nowadays, he does have a 5mm port for a flight stand back there as well. So just something I wanted to touch on real quick for both of them that I forgot to mention. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Look, he's a little shy. He didn't want to transform on camera in front of everybody, so put the curtain up for him, and now here he is in his alt mode. And his Anglerfish mode looks really incredible. I absolutely love it. And like I said earlier about the paint, what you see that you think is paint. So painted, 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 painted right here on his feet. And like I said earlier in his bot mode, is that his tail becomes his gun, becomes his tail. So it takes advantage of that 3mm flight stand that I was talking about, and bam! He is a complete... Now, he does have a bunch of weapon storage here on the side that you can put his guns for his bot mode right here on the side, which I really think adds to the intimidation factor of this guy. And he's got weapon storage for his sword. He's got it right here, which I guess is a thing that you can do, or you can flip open the combiner port right there. That used to be the Power of the Prime's armor gimmick port, and it can hold his sword like so. I don't really recommend holding the sword this way because you can only really get that. But then again, I think putting it up here is slightly awkward as well. So, and then I guess you could put it here on his fin. There's a port right here on both sides. I guess it's... But you end up with the same issue that you have if you use the combiner port right there. So there's not really a whole lot of good options for this as far as weapon storage on the figure goes. Now, what I think is really cool, when you open his mouth, he does have some darker pink in there, almost as if it is a mouth. And I think that's really cool. The Decepticon logo clashes extremely well up here, so there's no mistaking him for an Autobot or anything else. It is very out in the open. One thing I do want to address about his transformation, guys, is the way his arms are oriented right here are the way that they have to be oriented for this mode, because the way the ball joints have to angle inward. So just take note of how the arms how it's these three, I guess, carvings or whatever in the mold are, and that's the way that they have to be. Not really that big of an issue or anything. It's just something I wanted to point out. If you guys are having issues transforming yours, then that's probably what's going on, is that he is his arms are oriented wrong. I think at the end of the day, however, I think this is an awesome, wicked alt mode, angler mode, fish mode, bot mode, or beast mode, or whatever you want to call it. Now, he shares a very similar transformation to his buddy and Decepticon cohort Blot here, and geez, man, there is no telling that these are the same bot, okay, or the same, or just a retool of one another. Again, Takara hides the fact that this is a retool extremely well. They have the same transformation, okay? The back legs for bot mode fold up, and then the head for their alt mode folds down, and then these legs fold and twist around. It's the same transformation until you get up to the arms and the head section, and how they handle all of that. And in doing so, again, like I said, they hide the fact that they share a skeleton extremely well. Takara did, again, like I said, an incredible job hiding that this guy is a simple retool. Not even a simple retool, is a retool of Blot here. Man, and again, I just got to say it, they knocked it out of the park. Like, you guys are going to hear me say that probably a lot when it comes to these guys, because all of these Seacons have been remolds of somebody else, or molds that we have already seen before. And again, like I said, Takara just really hides the fact that these are retools extremely well. Now, one thing that you can do with this guy, that you can do with all the deluxe class Seacons, is put them in a gun mode for the combined mode. And yes, they are all, the deluxe ones are limbs, and it's something that I will take a look at when we look at the combined mode. I will look at the limbs individually. That's why I didn't do it with Turtler. I didn't show off his combined mode, because I want to look at them individually when we look at the combined mode together. But I want to take a look at the gun mode for these guys individually because it's an option for every last one of these deluxe figures. So, without further ado, I'm going to ask him to see if he can transform into his gun mode. Again, he's very shy. He doesn't like transforming on screen for everybody. But do you mind transforming into your gun mode for us? I know you probably don't mind. Look, he's not even talking, guys. He's so shy. So let me get him off camera, talk to him a little bit, and see if I can convince him to go into his gun mode. Alright, everyone. Here we have his gun mode, and man, just like the G1 figure, it just doesn't. I mean, look, there's 6 members and 5 of them combine into the giant bot, and one becomes a gun. I mean, what do you expect, right? But the instructions do not have anything about where this is supposed to go, so I just put it back here in his chin. Kind of give him, I guess, like an iron sight or something to help line everything up, which I think that's straight now. So, but yeah, here's his gun mode, and I really think that since this is a retool of Blot, that I really think they did what they could do with this, and I think it works out very, very well. So you have his guns right here that form the guns, the barrels for this mode, and then his fish mode, anglerfish mode, or his tail that becomes his dual barrel blaster, shotgun, whatever this becomes, is pegged in right here, and it's pegged into the side here, and it sits evenly and it sits flush. So I think that works out really good. The head does stick out right here, but again, if you turn it around and make him face upward, and with the way they would be holding him, I think that works out really well too. So I think this is done extremely, I won't say extremely well, but like I said, the fact that it is a retool, I think that the fact that this was even taken into consideration, I think is awesome. And again, that the fact that this is an option, I think is awesome. I absolutely love what they're doing with this Seacon set. This makes two down. I've got 2 more in the mail. They should be here today. So, but yeah, I think what they're doing with these guys is extremely awesome. So, as always, guys, I want to say thank you for stopping by and enjoying this review with me and taking the time out of your day. So, as always, guys, stay safe out there. Don't do anything stupid, especially now. And I'll see you next video. And as always, cut it out. Later, guys.